Welcome back to the Barra factory. We've got a dyno book this week and the car still is not finished. We have been working through the list, ticking off those jobs. Some of them were the Haltech dash and keypad. That's now mounted up and the interior is back in the car. The dash hasn't been configured just yet because, if you aren't aware, Haltech has released a new firmware update for the dash, which basically the two major changes are, one, the firmware has been changed, so to program and calibrate the dash, you now use NSP, which is the Nexus software, and two, the dash is now a master device. So in the instance where you don't have an ECU, you can use the dash combined with a PD16 to basically have a master and the slave. So great combination for diesel vehicles or possibly carbureted vehicles, but in this case, the biggest advantage for us is using the NSP software for the dash. We've got a tail shaft. We're back on the ground. GJ drivelines hooked us up with a chrome alloy tail shaft. Bolted that up in there, all good. And the suspension has now been finished off. The front suspension I didn't actually film. I didn't talk about it last week. Week before, whatever it was. So the front end consists of double adjustable Viking shocks from CRS. And that's off some advice from a couple of the Crown guys who have fitted these in the past. We modified the lower control arms to strengthen them up, and I've actually ended up with a spacer in there too, just to get the ride height correct. Speaking of ride height, it's at a height where I like it now, but I am gauging that it is going to probably settle in a little bit. I may have to change the spring rate too, but we'll get there in the end. In the rear, I have got a set of strain shocks because the distance we're working with was quite short, so it's like 300 mil. Basically, we were limited to shock and spring combinations, so that's in the back, and it's now sitting on the ground at a height where I think is actually quite acceptable for ride height and looks. The wheels, some of the comments saying yes, we like them, yes, we don't. Myself, I love the bead locks. I'm still not set on the front, but I want to drive the car and get it on the road just with these on there. I do have that other set. There's also the option to change to a 17-inch wheel, possibly all round, maybe 17 front, 15 rear. I'm not really too sure just yet. So that's pretty well done. The car's now back on the ground. We've gone through a few heat cycles now. And the last job to tick off, because we were waiting on the tail shaft, was the exhaust. So we've got a bunch of vibrant parts from Golebys. We've got some oval pipe, which I'm not too sure if we're going to use. I think we might make a side pipe maybe for a bit of track use, but I think Matt has hand polished this muffler, which I don't know if that's an option when you're on the Golebys website to hand polished via SteadyFab or not, but it all looks really nice and I'm excited to get it up in there. I'm going to have two mufflers, one in the middle, one in the back, a catalytic converter, and then TIG weld that all up and then scrape it all on the ground once I go over a speed bump. So let's hook in. That's the last job ticked off the list for the Crown Wagon. 3.5 inch stainless steel all the way through. Golebys sent us some oval tube and also some oval transitions to 3.5 inch pipe. The plan for that was I was going to run oval pipe next to the transmission so it was above the ground and wasn't going to scrape, but Al pointed out the best thing to do would probably have a sacrificial anode, which was the exhaust pipe if I were to hit the ground. So the exhaust actually sits about 10 mil lower than the transpan, so if I do go over a speed bump, it's going to hit the exhaust first. I then use that oval transition to go in between the cross member, so it actually, the pipe stays level at a height and it bellows down. So into that, high flow cat, 3.5 inch all the way through into those vibrant mufflers and out the back. We used some exhaust mounts, which are basically just a heavy duty rubber thing. They are on the back of the mufflers and it has been solid mounted to the trans mount using some stainless steel straps. So that's the way Al's done it over the years. That's the way he has taught me. I was questioning him as we go, hey, how do we do this? And Al actually finished off the rest of the exhaust out the back there for me because we're a bit strapped for time. So right now it is Wednesday afternoon. Shit, that reminds me, we've got to post a video, Al. You always do this every week. And tomorrow is a tune, so tomorrow we're off to see Kai at Knight Family Motorsport to throw this thing on the dyno and get it on there to see what numbers we can produce, and then I'm keen to hot lap it all weekend. Oh, actually, fuel pump guard. I also made up a little bash plate for the fuel pump, so there was a few comments in the comment section saying, what about the fuel pumps and a low road or something, but that's all covered. Nothing can hit that now, so I'm going to drive it home. I've already gone for a maiden voyage into town, went to see my mates at Paddy's for a wheel alignment and Lukey Rooster at Noosa Radiators to gas the aircon, and we are sorted. Icy cold aircon already. Got my priorities sorted. So let's go down and see Kai at Knight Family Motorsport, get this bolted onto the dyno. What does it sound like back there? Does it sound good?
Sounds like a Barra.
You close the gate, eh?
Put it on the chip.
Thursday mornings at Knight Family Motorsport. Hey Kai, how are you?
Good, good. Where would you rather be, mate?
I would, right now, I mean the beach is looking pretty nice.
Oh, it is actually.
How you going, man?
Good, good.
Righto, on the dyno. Everything went well. Alan, it did get to 104 on the highway, which I'm not overly excited about.
That sounds like too much.
So, whether the fans aren't on at speed or...
They're not, but you shouldn't need them because your car's moving.
Yeah, I know, but still, there's a lot of coolers to pull through there. Didn't even have the aircon turned on, bruz.
Because it doesn't work.
Just don't tell anybody. The other thing to note is, and this is me being a worrywart, this morning on first startup, there was a slight rattle from which I assume is VCT noise. Gets you scared when you fresh build, and to be honest, it may have always been there, but I haven't been in front of the car and with the bonnet open when I'm starting it. Now that it's got a full exhaust, it's a lot quieter rather than just a dump pipe, so gets me worried. But you're always peaking on your build when you first get your car started, and you know, first drive doing 100 k's down the highway last night, I was peaking, and then this morning being nervous. How nervous is it getting your car tuned? Now I'm the other guy on the other side of the lens here.
I'm not nervous. I've got thongs on.
Yeah.
It's like a day off.
What are they, Quicksilver or what?
It should have. I don't know. Should have. If you get this far and it doesn't work, then all the mistakes were made a fair while ago.
True.
That's how it is.
checking the timing sweep, Kai?
Yeah, just checking if it drifted with RPM. Yeah.
And did it?
A little bit. It's about, barrows typically I see about a degree or a degree and a half, depending on the coil system and everything. And this is about the same, it's probably about a degree and a half. Yeah.
So Kai, apart from the general Barra G40 Turbo 409 inch, talk us through your dyno session today, what we're going to do and what's your expectations?
So today we're going to start tuning on E10. So Woody's got some nice cheap fuel to drive around in. Believe it or not, you don't need a million horsepower in your street car to drive every day. So we're going to have we'll have an E10 tune that is actually economical and cheap to run. And then the great, beautiful thing, we're going to have a flex fuel sensor in the car, so we can then we'll put some E85 in it and we'll tune it up on E85. So Woody's got the flexibility of whatever he wants, best of both worlds.
So on that topic of E10, do you still see we'll make some decent power on E10 anyway, though? Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. I think the combination with cams, it's got a very efficient turbo and all the rest of it. I don't see any reason that we're not going to make some pretty good power, even on E10. We have got the knock box and everything hooked up. Obviously the ECU's got knock control, but we'll be spending a chunk of time making sure that is very accurately calibrated so that it actually works. And so that'll be one thing that we're going to be going through. This car's actually got a really good suite of sensors on it, which is very nice from a tuner's perspective. We've got anything I could want to know. I've already got the answer at my fingertips, so to speak. We've got coolant pressure, we've got exhaust back pressure, we've got obviously lambda sensors and all that sort of stuff, but we've got a really good suite of sensors covering it. So, and drive-by-wire throttle, which is lovely, gives us the flexibility to be able to do basically whatever. So I think it'll be a really nice street package when we're done.
So is there anything that you think can hold us up today on the dyno?
Hold us up, I mean, realistically, I don't think so. I think we're going to get to a point where we're happy with it. We haven't actually even spoke about that, of what the final goal is, but
just prior to rods out.
Just prior to rods out.
Kai guaranteed this 600 horsepower. He signed
think-
away, but to say, I
600.
will.
I don't think
Make
that'll
that
be
easy.
hard. 600 will be easy.
Look, I've got 1500cc injectors, so we're limited there, and I'm not fast about the power figure. Honestly, if I walk out today and it makes 300, I'm still a happy man. So
It's definitely not going to make 300. If it makes 300, there's something drastically wrong. But no, I think we're going to be good. We'll go through, but we'll do it. We got turbo speed sensor as well, so that'll be really cool to see. We'll be able to. We'll definitely, for this combination though, we're not going to be pushing anything to beyond its means. Like there's a difference of what a car will do for one pull on the dyno versus what it'll do for a whole season or multiple seasons or just years of street and road driving. You know what I mean? So. Printing off a number, there's so many times you see guys who'll print off a number and then you actually talk to them and they pulled 5 pounds of boost out of it straight after they made that number, you know what I mean? Realistically, I don't think any of us are about that. I'd rather make a power number that is within the efficiency limits of the whole combination, and then we can go out and let it prove itself at the track and we can turn it up at the track if we need to, you know what I mean?
truth be told, I'm going to drive the wheels off this thing. So
I know, you're going to...
I'm happy to turn it down in that case.
Another thing I'll do, we're going to spend time, just in the tuning side of things, but we'll spend a lot of time, obviously we've got the new Haltech, so we've got the fuel film model and stuff which is going on, so we're going to be tuning this on fuel film because it's only just come out, so let's do it. It'll also be drive-by-wire, we're going to use the drive-by-wire heavily, because I have slight concern that we might have boost control problem. I've seen this before on the G-Series stuff, the G-Series turbos are excellent, but they really lean on the wastegate priority a lot. Not that Woody's is bad. In fact, in previous years, you'd say that was excellent. I've just seen lately, I wouldn't be surprised if we slightly lose control of the turbo, especially on your lower octane fuel where we have to have some timing out of it. Because you have timing out of it to keep it away from the knock limit, you then have a bit more EGT. The EGT turns into turbine energy, and then you'll find that on E10 or something, you may struggle to keep control of turbo. But that's where the drive-by-wire throttle comes in, because we can actually, if we see it coming up, we can actually limit drive-by-wire max angle to keep the boosts under control. So, yeah.
The
block out those awful Barra noises.
Oh, come on, man. I reckon it sounds good. It sounds a bit raspy.
What?
It sounds raspy.
Hang on.
Rat.
Oh yes, it sounds good now.
So a lot of the time, it's basically so we're mapping it at all different throttle positions to make sure that it's a car you can drive every day, as opposed to going straight to like wide open throttle or whatever. We're doing ramp runs at partial throttle all the way through. It actually saves time in the long run of dialing the whole map in. If we do it this way, it'll basically, it actually saves us time in the long run of having the car completely dialed.
Hey Kyle, what's that beeping noise, that loud beep?
That's what happens when you forget to turn the cooling system for the dyno on.
Okay.
And your car's really powerful. That's what Woody wanted to hear.
Yeah, tell me that one.
We broke the dyno.
It's a good title. So we're finished with the E10 tune. Kai did wind it back a little bit to, I believe it was 490 horsepower. We ended up making it, so on the screen, Kyle will bring it up. Purely because you said you did hear a bit of knock events.
I mean, we ran it a couple times up at 500, it was 520-ish on it. But it was definitely, if you did successive pulls, it was right on the knock limit of the fuel.
Yeah.
It's, we're already down well into the single-digit timing numbers, which then, the issue with that is if you keep running it there with the timing so low, the EGTs are going to be quite high, so the better and more sensible option is to back the boost off a little bit and then come back to somewhere where the fuel's a little happier.
Yep, sweet.
So that's exactly what we did. And yeah, so 490, I think that's still a fairly respectable number through a turbo 400, 9-inch and E10. Like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, sweet. So Kai was concerned about the boost control off the manifold and with the G series housing just being more efficient, and it has occurred that it is suffering from boost creep. So currently that power figure is only on like a 40%, would you say what it was?
It's like about 48 to 47% throttle. We're actually using the throttle body to control the boost. So essentially, while the turbo's spooling, we allow the throttle to be wide open, but then as soon as it gets past, I'm using about 6 psi.
Yep.
We actually start to close the throttle down, because at that point the turbo obviously it's just going to keep going, you know.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that, is there? No.
No. It's just kind of a lot of people haven't heard of it before because it was not previously possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas no, the logic in the flexibility of the Haltech allows me to create, basically a max TPS table off that.
Sweet.
And so, like I said, we've done multiple runs. It's rock solid.
And if it creeps more, the boost will creep more, the throttle will close more. Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah. That's the way I've scaled the table. Again, it's not something that's like predefined or set up for you, but it's something that give you the flexibility to create tables however you want.
Sweet.
So that's exactly what I've done. Is at the boost targets we're currently running, we have a throttle angle that generates those boost pressures.
Sweet.
If it tries to go over that boost pressure, it will close the throttle more.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so it'll be self-regulating.
Yeah, awesome, righto. So obviously not ideal, and that will be a future fix, is to move the wastegate. Go Fast Bits wastegates, we believe it comes with a 14-pound spring, so that just hasn't changed, so that's stayed there. What I will do though is mount the EX50 just off the housing. We've done that plenty of times before, and that's probably going to be the best control for boost control, but that's a future job too. Then I've got to remake everything to pump back into the dump pipe. So now we're swapping over to E85. On the topic of fuel, definitely bring enough fuel when you need to tune your vehicle. So I have put 40 litres of E10 in there. I have driven from the shed into town and back to home, and also down to here. So assuming there would be about 30 litres of E10. I've also got a spare 20 of E10 just in case we needed that. But now we're pumping into a spare jerry, which I've brought, assuming we've got enough. So 20 litre jerry of E10. And I've also got 40 litres of E85 too. So E85 is relatively readily available on the Sunshine Coast. There's DYNO and Bly, both of those servos. I've never seen them run out of E85. So lucky for me, I live close to Bly. So at the shed, I can put E85 in the car, and then at home, I can also put E85 in at Bly. So you're going to pump it out. Kai's just set up a protocol for the can keypad, so that's activated the fuel pumps, and that is activating the and fill this jerry can up with E10. Nice. All right.
Nice and easy.
That's now mower fuel.
Exactly.
So I got 40 litres of E85 in the tank, and while Alan was on lunch, he just so happened to find some VCT solenoids. Truth be told, we actually had them back at the shed, and Al brought them with him today. FG motors, you can just pull the solenoids out. These were old ones, so you know the engine looks to be in good condition, but who knows why they were. Where's that rag? I need to grab that rag. Who knows why they may have failed, but because I've got new ones, we're just going to try them anyway, because the rattle gets me worried. So unless...
It's not the bearings rattling, was it matter?
No, well, who knows what the rattle is, but it's still scary. And these are the seals, what holds them in. The BA ones have a bracket off the side, so. Sticking it in dry, Alan. Didn't even lube it up. Talk us through the differences with the 85 now, Kai. What's going on? What are you going to do?
So we already had set it up basically in the base tune for the E85, so we've already told it to look for a flex sensor. It's already calculating the stoichiometric air fuel ratio of the fuel and all the rest of it. I've already fed forward a heap of changes for ignition timing and stuff like that, because we know these engines pretty well, so we can pretty much have a pretty good stab of where it's going to want to be. So yeah, we're pretty well just going to start getting into giving this thing a bit of a run up, and we'll see what it wants to do, but I think it's going to go alright. Devil's number.
No way.
I think that's the number. 666.
666 horsepower from the mighty FG turbo engine. Pretty nerve-wracking sitting in the car actually and witnessing that kind of power. I don't know how Kai does this day to day as an operator. It's nerve-wracking, but
I mean, on a really like strong engine or something, it's a lot less nerve-wracking, because you think, you know, what we're doing is definitely, you know, well below the limits of the components. Obviously, with a stock bottom-end engine, the limit of the components probably depends on which day the engine was built. You
Yeah,
know
for
what
sure,
I mean?
for sure.
We don't really know. It's a bit of a how long. So all we can do is keep, you know, keep cylinder pressure out of it through the middle. You know, just normal tuning principles, so to speak, and everything's looking good. Especially probably the one more nerve-wracking thing with this one is that, as Woody mentioned a couple of times, we don't actually have full control of the boost at the moment. We are using. This is the unsung hero of the whole combination. It's actually limiting the boost via the drive-by-wire throttle. So, yeah, that's the first time we've kind of let it eat, so to speak. And yeah, it makes about 18.5 pounds of boost to 19-ish. And yeah, let's have a look at these plugs.
So that was 100% throttle that time.
It was just trimming, because I had told it that if it tries to go, because I was hoping for about 18, looking what I saw, and then I had it trimming a little bit, so there was a little bit of throttle reduction through the mid-range just to slow the turbo down a fraction. But
So you've got a table set up that is, I want this much boost and throttle opening to trim that.
more or less, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty clever.
It's what we have to do when we don't have control of it. Is that and I knew that Woody wants, like I said, there's no reason you couldn't run the car like this. But I think the plan will be to get the wastegate instated, so that we can just control it more conventionally.
It's worth noting too, it's not the turbo's fault, it's just the manifold design. And when back in the day, these manifolds, when they're designed, the G series turbo wasn't around. So nowadays, the difference is a lot of people are designing manifolds with the wastegate merged right on where the turbo bolts onto. So
Yeah.
something to change, but truth be told, I probably won't change that for a long time. I'm so keen to drive this thing. Plugs, reckon they look alright?
Yeah,
Yeah, good.
fine, man.
I didn't see any timing strap or anything.
Nah. Well, these actually read differently. So Denso's, they don't have the same coding as NGK's, so you're not going to see like the coloration stripe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it honestly looks very soft, which is what I would expect, because we do still have we have a couple degrees of timing back out of this thing over what you would typically run. And that's mainly just because it's a stock bottom end Barra, you know what I mean? It's,
Shout out to Darcy for the spark plug holder. Thanks, mate. Best
It was donated to a
$200
worthy
bill. I
cause.
don't even know how much I paid for it anymore. Piece of alloy I've ever bought, but thanks, mate. It's come in handy for Kai. He uses it all the time, apparently. So
it's good.
sweet. Well, we're going to throw this back together and go for a hot lap.
I reckon, we pull it off the dyno, we'll set up the cruise control stuff, or maybe you can drive and we'll set that up. And
Yeah, sweet. Cruise control for sure. We're going to say a huge thanks to all the companies that have helped not only support the show, but supported this build. Golebys Parts, Raceworks, Go Fast Bits, Hopper Stoppers, Hughes Performance. Who else is there? Haltech, of course. And on that topic, Haltech and the crew from Raceworks, we've got a bunch of sensors on the car, so we've got so much data. That was purely from, I suppose, our point of view. It's good to know these kind of things for future builds too. So stuff like exhaust manifold pressure and stuff is a good one, that we know what's going on with this G40 on the Barra. So other stuff like turbo and speed. Also Garrett's another company that supported the build. Turbo and speed's a big one. Yeah, you said something about the efficiency of the turbo car. Can you elaborate more on that?
yeah, well, it allows us be able to look at the boost pressure that it's making and the exhaust valve manifold pressure, and then the turbo speed. We can get a really good clear picture of how the turbo is performing, and if we're pushing it to within its efficient limits and stuff, which it is. It's performing really nicely actually. So no, it's really good to have the data to confirm that everything's working as it should.
Yeah, sweet. I'm very stoked to have completed this build too and get it on the road. The VCT rattle, I assume it is, it's still there. Our mate Kloppy suggested it's probably the cam gears. Being that that's the only part that we haven't replaced, it's actually quite plausible. So under load, it actually doesn't make the noise. It's just at idle on first start, and then at about 3,000 RPM it kind of kicks in. So something to address in the future. Might even put some solid ones in there. I'm not really too sure. Oh, hang on. Does the womp happen with the VCT? Is that what? Oh no, it does.
But you can, if you wanted you could like put cam overlap in the static position. You put solid gears on there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You put
Changing the world.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, oil change is probably a big thing too, but anyway, stoked out on the road and going for a little hot lap. We're going to make Brad in the back here. Brad now owns Al's JZS 171 Crown Wagon too, so I think he's got a bit of crown envy, I think.
That's your valet mode.
This is valet.
Yeah. This is just setting 0.
Someone's got a door open too.
Oh, it's me.
I don't know.
It's not the back, is it?
I think it's Al's door.
Is the door branding already yet?
Man, that is so good. So how much power is that? That's like 400, eh?
That's literally, yeah, that's the valet. I actually turned that down, so it's literally like 8 pounds of boost.
Yeah, that's pretty epic.
Aircon's working awesome.
Yeah, we haven't got the aircon working yet. We need to change that to a different input too, but
Not the same system as my Crown.
it is quite drony too. But that's just the Barra thing, and I don't even care because I love it. A part of this road test is actually setting up the cruise control too. So with the Haltech CAN keypad, we can set the speed, cruise, up, down, cancel, and that's why I got the 3x5 keypad. And speaking to Kai before about what inputs I can put on that keypad, it comes down to user preference. So fuel pump override, fan override, you can have, there's so many different combinations of what you can do with the keypad. So I'm excited about cruise control, and Kai also mentioned traction control in the future too. So we've got to get a ABS ring on the front for the hub to then fit a wheel speed sensor, and then I can activate, yeah, sweet. And then I can activate traction control, cruise control. Oh, it's self-driving like a Tesla, look at this. You need to number these cars because I'm not going to remember
Yeah,
what.
no, we will when we get back. I just first want to just drive it. I reckon we'll go for it. How much,
Put 40 litres V85 in.
yeah.
The bridge is closed. You want me to go to Bly?
If you wanted, so we'd have to go that
Go
way.
this way, yeah.
Yeah, because the bridge is closed, yeah.
First drive went good. Al needs to go home, so he's actually going to bail out, and I'm going to go for another drive with Kai just to fine-tune all the cruise control stuff, but I'm very stoked. Lots of power, lots of options for that keypad for different power levels, and also having E10 that I can use day to day because I am going to drive the wheels off this thing. So stay tuned for car park meets or roll racing events, drag challenge weekend, I'll be there.
Road trip, Jack.
Road trip, I'll be there. So keen as. I still need to sort the fridge out. It's working. It's the lid closes, but it's pretty dodgy. So I'm going to go see.
There's a problem with it.
What's
It
that?
doesn't have any.
There's no lemon squash in it. So I'm going to go get it trimmed, and it's one of those later day things. I just want to get the car on the road and drive the wheels off it. So thank you for watching. Very stoked to have this done finally. Such a massive build, and so much work's gone into this car. Shout out to the crew that have come over and seen the car and actually acknowledge the work that has gone into it, because it's fine for people to come over and go, oh, sick Barra, bro. And then but for someone to actually point out and say, wow, there's a lot of man hours into this, it's makes me feel good. So thank you, homies. Thanks for watching as always. Thank you again to all the people who have supported this build and who support the show. We really do appreciate everyone's input, and it keeps us creating the best content that we can possibly create.
I'm sorry it didn't make as much power as my Crown.
Oh, whatever. Let's race then. Come on.
All right.
Damn it. You can have me there. It's going to be the same size. I don't know what you're so concerned about.
Since when has squashing something made it the same size on the inside?
Well, isn't it just about volume? No?
Yeah, it is. That's why I'm checking.
So, also, how good are those seaweed biscuits, by the way?
They're not that good.
I love them.
I need some dip.
Are you just going to do it with water?
Yeah.
Is this like myth busting? Macca's large versus small drinks?
Oh, we got leakage.
Well, that's not going to work, is it?
It's a glitch in my plan.
There was some leakage there, but
Cooling it less. Not much, though.
so how much wood? Oh, I reckon you're right. Hang on, they are exactly the same height, aren't they?
It's close enough.
They're the same height?
Myth busted.
Wait, what's the myth busted?
The myth was that it's not the same size.
But so, they are.
Yeah.
But that had less.
No, it didn't. Close enough.
So, we've just had a bit of a scare, and welcome to the after credits. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. We were just driving, we're going to blah United to get some E85, and the car just died on us. I was peaking in the heat of the moment. I just forgot to record the cameras, which I know better, I probably should have, but basically what happened was the power to the ECU from the vehicle.
The one wire.
The one wire that's the Toyota's job. Hang on, I'm like peaking right now. I'm okay to drive at rate. There's nothing's different, no.
No, it's fine, yeah.
Okay, that's good. The one wire to power the ECU is gone, so anyway, Al chewed on some wires like a rat and powered it up. Hang on, what did that power originally, Al?
The light in the glove box.
Oh, the glove box light.
Football light or something.
We've got some pretty wacky voltage coming in on that. Wily light. Yeah.
Oh, it's probably, it might turn off. Oh no, unless it's earth switched, because it powers a footwell and then it will turn off after a certain time.
Oh, I have to open the door, I don't even keep the car running.
Well, if I turn the parkers on, anyway.
I told you I found a nut on the ground.
Al found this nut, and I thought he was hoaxing me, trying to take the piss. But look why there was no power, because that wire came off the back of the alternator. It's okay, Alan, though, because there's banana bread in the oven.
You need to hook up the power to the car for everything to work properly. Although we seem to have got away with it pretty well since I gnawed off a glove box light wire and jammed it into the
Don't film that.
the
Don't
on
show 'em what
switch.
you did.
MacGyver style. No one can gnaw a wire like me. That's the glove box light, and that's the ECU power supply.
Are the crown shirts ready yet?
I don't know, have you organised it?
No, I forgot to. My bad. If there's a crown shirt available, you can find their link right about here. Fresh Crown Designs.
Just a picture of a giant 8mm nut.